IRS would let you use.
I don't think so.
But in
No.
fact, this is what these banks are doing with these foreclosed properties.
Yeah,
And
and
they're
if you'll
getting
notice, the IRS is not going after these banks to audit their books.
no,
Got to
no.
make you wonder why.
But they're sure going to come after my sister if she doesn't pay the 30 grand on the,
That's right.
you know,
On the
on
deficiency.
yeah, on the deficiency, on the loss that they suffered.
Well, what this is this is just a different example of the fact that this is us versus them. That's this is what this is boiled down to, that it is us and them. And
This is a financial war.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and it's more than that, Steve. I mean, it's the war for our country. It's the war for our very survival. And
Absolutely.
one of the ways that if they can make us homeless, and if they can make us poor, if they can turn this place into a third world nation, boy, it sure gives them a lot of power to do a lot of other things that they have on their minds to do. All right, we got a quick break here. Another segment with Steve and Vickie. When we come back here, don't go anywhere. It's the Mike Chambers radio program. Back in the Mike Chambers radio program, and this has been a subject I found so interesting. When at first glance, when they first started talking about these home foreclosures, it was, hey, how come you're not paying your bills? What's going on here? Then you get in and start looking at this. And you find out these people, everybody has been defrauded by and large by the banks, by these mortgage lenders, who basically set up and wrote their own rules as to what they're doing. And then now there are people like Steve who are helping people fight back and helping them keep their property, helping them keep their homes. Because again, I don't, the idea here is to trash this place. To steal everything that is stealable, and I think that's one of the reasons why they not tank the currency, and why things there is a bit of normalcy remaining here, is because they've not stolen, Steve, everything they can steal yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They'll go after the money in the background first, and then they'll come after the property so that they can flip it and do it over and over and over.
Yeah, until they've drained absolutely everybody of their finances and their will. And I think part of this is designed to break the spirit of the American people.
It is absolutely. And Mike, I'll tell you, as soon as I found out that the fiat debt-based currency that we use, that being debt itself, is being used against the American populace as a weapon, I got to thinking, okay, if I have an enemy who's using a weapon against me, I've got to disarm my enemy. So I've got to look at his biggest weapon first. What is his biggest weapon? Your mortgage. What's your biggest debt?
Right.
Your mortgage. Second biggest debt, your car payment.
Right.
So if you can vacate your mortgage, hey, you just disarmed your enemy.
Right. And if you're driving around in a cheap old car that you bought from the lot on the corner, as opposed to going down to screw 'em, shoe 'em dealers and trucks, that's a lot better, because then because you're paying, you're getting debt that's already debt to begin with, and how you create debt out of debt, that makes absolutely no sense.
Well, you can ask a judge. There's a guy named Coffee Bean Gene. He earned this name apropos. He went in to fight a traffic ticket, and he lost his backside. The judge said, "No, you owe us $250. I don't know what the number was, but I'll just throw that one out there. It's an easy number. You owe us $250. Well, judge, am I indebted to the court now? Yes, you sure are. Okay, well, can I satisfy this debt with an obligation? Absolutely not. You got to be out of your mind. What kind of question is that? And then it dawned on the judge what he just said. Well, and the inevitable question came out. Your Honor, is the Federal Reserve note an obligation of the United States? Yes, it is. Well, in what specie, sir, would you have me discharge this obligation? He said, I don't care if you do it with coffee beans. I hope you like French vanilla.
Because here comes the truck.
Here comes the truck. Well, he went and got a pound of coffee beans, and here you go, Judge.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It made the judge angry because he realized that the judge himself equated coffee beans with something of value.
Yes.
And that the Federal Reserve note had no value.
Right.
So there you go, Judge. Hope you like French vanilla.
Yeah, grind that up. There, you better I'll throw the grinder in for free.
Yeah.
Well, Vickie, so you're. I hope we've given you some things to think about, and to be able to hopefully help you with what you're doing here in the next few days, as you've got another hearing coming Monday.
Yeah, and as I sit here and listen to this and try to digest it as much as I can as quickly as possible, I go back to what you said, Steve, about stand your ground, and I think that the listeners out there, one of the things they really, if they're in a predicament where they're looking at a home foreclosure, they're looking at an eviction, a writ of possession, is to stand your ground, because some of the things that aren't coming out because people get so swallowed up by the system and just getting back to their everyday thing is the fact that many things change. Not only do you lose your home, this is really a hit. It just takes your legs out from under you. But now you're trying to reestablish yourself, and you have to realize once you try to reestablish yourself, this is what my sister found. Her credit she had an A+ credit rating when all this began. Now she's found that she can't even rent an apartment in her name because now she's defaulted on a loan that shows up on her record now forever. And this is something that's going to follow her for many years. And if a person walks away from their home and do not stand their ground and fight this, you haven't got a chance to correct those essential things that are going to be haunting you for a very long time. She ended up losing her job in the course of all this. But her credit rating may have been one of the most important things she lost, because now she will be homeless. She can't rent. Right. You have to follow, you have to pass that credit check. And she's finding that she can't even rent a place, not even an apartment.
Right. That's what I try to convey to my clients or potential clients when they come and tell me that, well, that I don't have any money. That costs too much. Well, we've got ways to work around that. But do you have a plan B? Well, no. What's plan B? I was hoping you could tell me. Plan B would be to go down to the local grocery store at midnight and start collecting boxes, because you're going to need them. And you're looking at, with a foreclosure on your credit report, you're looking at first month, last month security deposit. You're already at $3,000 right there on a national average. You're already at $3,000, and you haven't moved your refrigerator, your couch. You haven't moved the kids into a new school district. You haven't moved your utilities.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. A lot of work goes into this even after. She was ready to throw her hands up. She said, Vickie, I can't do this anymore. She was just, I'd never seen anyone in shambles like that, except I can relate it to people I used to work with that had been molested or raped. Right. This is where she was coming from. And to see your own sister go through this. Yeah, you have been. Yeah. Definitely you have been. You have been violated in some of the worst ways imaginable, because you have a whole nation that's thinking that, oh, you're just a bad person, you didn't pay your payments. That is not what these people are going through. For them to have to change their entire lifestyle, they have really taken away every freedom and right that these people know.
Yeah, I've had conversations with people where they're just, first off, they feel like trash because for some reason now they can't make the payment. And then when you sit down and start talking to them, you say, you have to understand, you were defrauded in the first place.
Right.
And then they start to feel a little bit better, but still there's that angst, that I'm going to be looked at as the deadbeat. That's what shows up on the credit report. That's what the guy at the next place sees, and doesn't realize, wait a minute, I was defrauded, I was lied to, I was stolen from. My life is now a shambles because of this. But it doesn't matter, because we're all so tied into this damn debt-based money system that there's no way out of it other than just to not deal with it. Everything you do, you have to deal in cash. That's the thing that sucks about it.
And that's the only way I deal anymore. I can't take the pressure either of having creditors. I just couldn't. So I just pretty much stepped out of the entire system.
Well, that's what we've done too. That's what we have done here. And can you guys stay one more second? Well, let's talk about that, because I think that's something that does need to be talked about. I know a lot of people are aware of it, but that's something that a lot of people do, they think that if I do this, get a good credit rating, everything's going to be absolutely okay. We're going to take a break here. Come back in just a second. Stay right there. It's the Mike Chambers Radio Program. All right, one more segment now. I think I said that 10 minutes ago. One more segment with Steve and Vickie here. But I think a big thing about this is we're always told, well, you got to go establish your credit, and And now, now they're hitting the kids with credit cards in college now. Just as soon as, they throw that cap up in the air from high school, you're getting hit up with credit card applications. And this ends up literally being a trap, where, once the kids get caught in this, they become adults, they start growing a family. And before you know it, they're eyeballs deep in debt, and there's just no way out of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, here's go ahead.
Go ahead, Vickie.
Well, I just wanted to interject because when he was talking about the young people and the debt, I lost my daughter when she was 15 to a side effect of now a well-known drug. But when she was 15, she passed away. Well, life went on, of course. Well, on her 18th birthday, what would have been her 18th birthday, in the mail, I started getting all of these different banks sending me these credit card things where she automatically was approved for all these different credit cards. And I just thought, now, somewhere they had tagged her name and she showed up in a database as turning 18. And that's when they're going to hit these kids. As soon as they get out of high school, they are hit from Capital One and all these banks to try to increase their debt. I
have a daughter. She's 21 now, and she's moderately retarded. And she even got them. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the Army even sent pamphlets and brochures to her wanting her to join.
Oh, yeah. They're just standing in wait like a bunch of vultures.
Yeah. They were quite apologetic when we called them back and said, look, do you understand who you're sending this stuff to? Well, no. She's not listening. So, well, she's retarded. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. It's like, but I mean, we condition everybody, and it's in the media. Because if you remember back in the late 60s and 70s, somebody who had a credit card, especially an American Express credit card, you were somebody, you were a swinging. And then they start loosening the credit up into the 80s and then even further in the 90s and the beginning of the 21st century, they loosen up even further where everybody's got credit. And I knew that this was all going to unravel when I was watching people pay for their groceries with their credit card at 21% interest. Mm-hmm. And so they literally have hooked everyone in America on this. And something I found funny years ago, my dad, who's never been one who has done a lot of credit, he had a mortgage on a house and that's it. Never bought new vehicles, always bought used, went and paid cash. That he went in and was going to go get a loan or do something for something, and they came back to him and said, "Sir, you don't have enough credit." Yeah, but my bills are all paid. So basically what they're saying is that if you want credit, if you want more debt, already got to have debt before we'll give you debt.
Yep.
Which makes it doesn't make any sense. It's illogical, but they know that if you're going to have some that you're willing to take on more, and they'll continue to provide you with more.
Well, it's incredibly logical if you look at the Ponzi scheme aspect of it.
Right.
We're the losers. We're the ones that are on the dirty end of this stick. The bankers win. How many times over is the only question.
Yeah, that is the only question, is it? And they've been successful at it.
Absolutely.
They've had a 100-year run here, especially with
100-year. Hell, this goes back to 2,000 years
or
more.
Well, just this latest iteration here in this country, they've had a 100-year unfettered run where they have taken the wealth of America, of Americans. I mean, I live in a community where a lot of the houses were built around the turn of the 20th century, and an average cost of a home about that time. We're not talking a little itty bitty shack. We're talking homes with 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3,000 or 4,000 square feet in them, all built by hand, built by the owner, added to over the years. Probably cost them total maybe $3,000 or $4,000 in the end. That now, because of inflation and what they've done to our money, it's cost people $300,000 or $400,000 to walk into these old homes.
Yep,
it's crazy. You just to buy a car now that doesn't quit on you after a week, it's $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Well, have you noticed that silver's probably going to hit $50 by the end of next month,
if not sooner? I think it was at 46 here the other day.
Okay. Well, that just tells me that the dollar is gone.
Yeah. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. So all they can do is just create as much debt as they possibly can. This Ponzi scheme called the Federal Reserve System